Chapter 7 City of Mesto Entrance. Down the street of Mesto, and close to the home of a known friend of the Vice Magus clan, Charminos' home, like the others, was expertly crafted and color balanced for a vibrant exterior look. Ahmad stops at the front door and taps on it with the head of his staff. The door is answered by an average height but slightly muscular man in a dark blue Victorian coat and vest lined with silver buttons. This is worn over a white silk shirt, ascot, and trousers. Even the boots this man wears are without flaw and likely cost more than the paycheck of most creatures in Mesto. His black hair is parted by a flame-red set of bangs running down the center. Ahmad and young Amalthea, it's so great to see you both. He walks out of his house with his arms outstretched and gives Ahmad a big hug, lifting him off the ground. It's great to see you as well, Charaminos. Amalthea giggles as Ahmad struggles to reply. Charaminos gently sets the old master down, then walks into his home with the mages following. I suppose you are wanting into the palace, eh? He walks into the study, a room painted dark green with a fireplace, 4 chairs, and a few shelves filled with books. Sage Veer sent me. He wants to know what all of those cataclysmic events were, Ahmad says as Charminos sits in one of the chairs and gestures for them to take seats as well. Ahmad sits in a chair next to him, while Amalthea looks around. Charminos speaks, ending his statement with a bit of mocking sarcasm. I can already tell you the Grand Elementals don't know anything about the recent events. Charminos, sorry to interrupt, but can I use your bathhouse? Amalthea asks while she holds her hands behind her back. Of course, Amalthea. Let Ortea know. She will prepare it for you. Charminos nods to her, to which Amalthea smiles, then walks out of the room. Ahmad holds his hand out as his armor and staff disappear. He lies back in the seat, rests one leg on the other, then interlocks his fingers and lays them on his knee. Charaminos looks at Ahmad and sits sideways in his chair, resting his elbow on the arm closest to Ahmad. We sent 2 elemental blades to investigate the 11 river villages. Without moving, Ahmad replies with a scoff. Everyone is checking on everyone, but I would still like to talk to them. Ahmad gestures one hand toward his host, at least one of them. Charominos holds up his hand. As good as done, Ahmad. He puts that hand to his chin as he ponders. But come on, you know who is responsible. Thrilled about the course of this conversation, Ahmad plants his hand under his chin and does little to hide an impartial smile as his friend begins to rant. What has 4 wings, a suit of holier-than-thou golden armor, and a brick for a brain? He pauses, gesturing to Ahmad, who can only smile even bigger at the coming rage fit. King Dorian, he says casually. King Fathead himself, the elemental concludes with a burst of energy, nearly leaping from his chair, his face now red with fury. In another building, separate from Trauminos' house, is the bathhouse which a middle-aged elemental maid has prepared for Amalthea. How is that, child? She asks, hovering her hand over the water, warming it with her elemental power. This question catches the child by surprise, her attention fixed on the artwork covering the walls, with a depiction of the various gods and their roles in shaping the world. The young master raises her hand just above the water, summons her staff, then takes a moment to ponder. Kalt Alphakea. In an instant, the water is covered with an explosion of bubbles, which eventually spews out from the entrance and heats windows of the building. From the thick shower of bubbles, Ortea scoffs. Now you're going to clean this up, right? The maid asks, attempting to hide her frustrations with the child. Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Amalthea responds, poking her head through the bubbles at the maid. Now alone, the young master pauses to put her hair into a bun, then dives deep into the bottom of the pool-sized tub. Here she finds a mural of trees has been carved into the center. Rising back to the surface, she kicks back and rests her head just below one of the elaborately carved stone statues. It is of a noble Valkyrie standing strong over the Valley of Suds with a heavy spear in hand. I spent 3 days, 3 days planning my outfit for his dinner party, Charminos continues to a mage who is only staying interested from the sheer extravagance of his gestures. And Dorian has the gall to say to me, I like a man who represents the working class. Ahmad bursts out into laughter at the elemental's plight, sitting forward with a clap. Then I say, well, we are hard workers, Charminos continues through rapid breaths as fatigue sets in from the tantrum. When you want to be, yes. That's what he said to me. The master stands, allowing the blood to flow as Charminos rests a hand on his shoulder. It took everything I had not to slap that fairy across his smug face. 20 minutes pass in what feels like a flash as Amalthea awakens to a room still covered in suds, a bathing tub now with cold water, and a lovely crick in her neck thanks to the almost right angle it has been sitting in. Behind her is the maid, Ortea. She lays a towel behind Amalthea and pats her head. Time to get out. Do you have clothes for bed? With a nod, Amalthea answers, Yes, ma'am, she says, still shaking off a timid tone, wiping the towel across her face as Ortea walks out. Fully refreshed and with a knee-length nightgown on, Amalthea joins the conversation. Hi, you two. She stops before them as Charminos attempts to calm down, and Ahmad turns his attention to his former apprentice. Did you enjoy your bath? He asks while their host sits down, exhaling a heavy breath. Amalthea nods gleefully. Mages can technically clean themselves with magic, but warm bubble baths surrounded in Mestonian architecture are a special occasion. Will me and Amalthea be able to stay here with you until the elemental blades return? Ahmad asks as Charminos crosses his arms. I'd be insulted if you didn't, Charminos replies with a wary smile. Tomorrow I will work on appointing that meeting if you still wish to go. Yeah, it may have been some goblin in the woods who did it. Still fuming, Charminos can only scoff at Ahmad's inquiry. Maybe it was our sister temple, who knows. I'd like to go there someday, Amalthea adds, walking over to Ahmad and sits in a chair across from him. So, can we go see the city Ahmad? She springs her feet up, awaiting Ahmad's response, then plants them back down, leaning forward in question. Wait, do I need your permission to go on my own? Well, until we can get an audience, I don't see why we couldn't, he says as Amalthea perks up excitedly, looking out a window at the city all aglow with lights. But I will suggest that you get some rest right now. The performers will still be there in the morning. She looks out the window at the dark sky lit dimly by the city. Actually, sleep does sound nice right now. She starts to walk out as Charmino stops her. Hey, upstairs, third room on the left is yours. Also, tomorrow I can show you where the performers normally work. Amalthea walks over to Charminos and hugs him. Thank you for being so awesome, Charminos. He hugs her back as she says these words, then walks out of the room. Charminos looks at Ahmad with a hint of pride. Congratulations, you must be very proud. Ahmad chuckles and hides his face with his hand. I am. I can't believe it's been 15 years. He leans forward and interlocks his fingers. I remember how, when she was little, Amalthea would scoot on her bottom everywhere she went. Sensing a story coming on, Charminos leans against the fireplace as Ahmad continues. Then one day I look up from my book and Amalthea is standing before me. He chuckles slightly, caught up in a memory. She tries to say something to me, and flings her arms forward. Ahmad can barely get the words out as he claps his hands, one on top of the other, mimicking a falling motion. Before I can even get to her, she falls right over. She handles it like a champ, though. Ahmad pauses, lost in memories. Ahmad snaps out of the memory as Charminos looks out the window. Was it just you there, or... Charminos asks with one cocked eyebrow. Ahmad looks towards the exit, then back to his friend. Yeah. You want to get something to eat? He says to Charminos, who rolls his eyes with a nod. I'm full, but I could go for a drink, Charminos says, putting his coat back on as Ahmad stands up and the two walk out of his house. Amalthea sits on the guest bed. Holding her hand up, she switches her outfit to a nightgown. She lies down on the bed, sore but not tired. Then she hears the heavy door slam below her. Amalthea runs to a window in the room, just in time to see Ahmad and Charminos walk out into the street. Okay, Ahmad, there's a really nice bar and grill near here called the Pixie Party. I don't think I've been to that one, Ahmad replies as he looks down the brightly lit street. You haven't. It just sprang up. I think a year ago? Charminos walks with him down the sidewalk. Amalthea walks out of the house in her blue apprentice robes, then into the street and looks at the two strolling away from her.